I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Let's come to order and take our roll call. Everyone here is present here tonight, as you can see. And then we come down to the approval of the agenda. If you need a copy, there's one at the back table if you didn't get the copy of the agenda tonight. So they stand as, that's before you. We have no presentations tonight, so we will go right on down to public comment.
Jim Malash. I moved down here in January of '84 after I built a house over off of Curry Road behind the golf course. And I don't know how many meetings I've been to. I've been speculating, but it's a wild guess. It's probably over 100 times I've been in this hall in the last 30 plus years. So it's not a regular thing, but I've been here. I know what's supposed to go on. I know what would like to go on. So I've filled Dale and Gary, our treasurer and our supervisor, a bunch of information about some things that have gone on with our rental police and how badly it's been done. Gary's still pursuing some more information about what, but it appears that for the third time since I've been here, I've called the police just a couple of weeks ago. No police response till gunshots heard. Never did show up. So far, they haven't been able to find a record of it. That same kind of a call happened well over 20 years ago. I can't even remember how far back that was. Obviously, totally different people with the county and stuff, but no response. I called a third time way back when I was leading one of my bike rides, the Animal Bike Club out from Plymouth out through to Salem, and cars were harassing us and threatening us on the highways and stuff. Cops never showed up for that. So, you know, this whole thing with the police business, it goes way back, and they've been ignoring us and not serving us and protecting us at the county level for a long time. Okay, next item I wanted to mention is the newsletter. I've gotten a couple of nice pretty ones recently. I like all that nice printing and pictures and all that good stuff. But I want to have a lot more information about meetings coming up, agendas coming up. You know, anything that might be a month or 3 months, we can, you know, put it on our calendar. You know, the Open Meetings Act, which is the law of the land now, requires that more than the door be open. You know, people need to have information. Who knows how many people would have been here if they had a complete list of agenda topics. And from what I'm seeing in here, I'm not sure if everything is on the agenda. I haven't got to the bottom yet. But there are some things I've been hearing about from people in the township that are serious issues for the whole township, and we need more information on that. Then there are people concerned about lists of 29 people that are something like that, something around 30 people applying for a job, and only 2 people's names were mentioned at the public meeting. And there's a question about the legality of all that. We need more information on that. Our newspaper historically has been horrible at getting coverage for us. You know, I love that newsletter. I want that baby to keep coming regular as clockwork. But I'm not interested in so much in, you know, recipes and heartwarming things, but much more interested in agendas and things that are going on. We got a lovely banquet that Mrs. Whitaker puts up for us as a good attraction, but you know, we need to have more information about that will drag us over here so we can, you know, prepare a couple of comments about what something that might be on the agenda. And I keep hearing all kinds of stories about the sewer system now has got a problem. As a member of the committee that worked on it, chaired by Mr. Trent, and Linda Hamilton and I and my late wife, we all thought we had that thing all fixed up and everything was going hunky-dory, but apparently there's some real problems recently with people dumping a lot more water into the system, and we have a township problem developing with a sewer system that's not up to standard, not up to the standards that it was built for and it's supposed to be operating for, and the hamlet might get hooked with it. And another thing I keep hearing stories from several different people over the months is that Showstack business with the development down there I've been told, not by a lawyer, but by somebody that pays attention, that there could be another court case about that, about the township helping them with their sewer and water development, some technical thing about some law. It could have the township on the hook for providing the public part of the sewer and water district down there. So I'm here to find out lots more about what's going on. Going to enjoy the bank, but, you know, let's fill up our newsletter with a lot more substance.
Okay, thanks. Okay, anyone else? Okay, now for the, just a couple comments. I don't know if you, I'm sure most people know the new carpet's in, also our new offices, it's open there. Just feel free to walk through and see all the new improvements in there. I'd like to thank the office staff. They've really pulled together to move things around, and everything was over on this side while they were painting and getting everything, computer systems and everything over here, so they worked hard to get that and run smoothly without any glitches, so I'd like to thank them. Okay, so that's about all I have for that. We are down to the consent agenda. Mr. Wensworth.
I move that Salem Township approve the following consent agenda items. Regarding the minutes of June 9th, we have one correction on business item 8A2. It should be seconded by trustee Converse. And also, we also have to approve, add a few words after the adoption. It says the adoption of the new FOIA procedures and forms as required by the state. So we'll add that in there. Trustee Dale
Yeah,
Converse.
okay.
Yeah.
All right. He's the treasurer.
Treasurer. All right, he's still a trustee. All right. And we have the general fund June check roster of $491,842.99. That's checks 25,428 and 25,497. Escrow fund $5,581.50. Checks 1,598 through 1,600. We have payroll of $65,616.45. Paycor $182.50. We had sewer fund disbursements of $5,805.40. Checks 1951 and 1952. The invoices for July out of the general fund will be $76,736.91. The sewer fund invoice of $4,948.72. And the escrow fund invoice is $2,598. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a second. Any other questions on the consent agenda? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we moved on down to business items under zoning and planning. Special planning consultant. I move that Salem Township retention of Richard Carlisle of Carlisle Whitman and Associates in Ann Arbor at the rate of $120 per hour to act as a special planning consultant for commercial development in the Urban Services District, and $165 per hour to serve as an expert witness in the pending litigation of Salem Springs LLC versus Salem Township. We can talk about that if we can have a second on this.
I'll second.
All right. We've talked quite a bit about the USD and what is going on there. And as you know, especially what's concerning the 90-some acres, or whatever, close to 100 acres that are on the north side of M14, where the referendum was done, Kleins. I think most people know of them and their legal position on this. So whatever's done and which has been done, they've been talking, and now the judge ruled that the township's referendum did not stand, and therefore we're just kind of waiting to see what can be done on that piece of property that's going to be satisfying the residents that live there and also the township. So we've talked about not only our planning commission and also other experts about the USD, what it can look like and what it should be. So we have asked Mr. Carlisle to look at this and also have another set of eyes on it. Also Don Pennington, which mostly it's been Rodney Manny that's been here that also has his eye on this. So this is the purpose of that as we move forward on this piece of property. Any questions on this?
Yeah, so what all would you like, Mr. Carlisle, what kind of information do you want to get from him?
There, as far as design or anything that comes from the developer to, as far as the client's group of people, whatever they're saying that's gonna go there, or what is proposed to go there, there's always been the talking or saying, hey, what about this going here? We basically say, what it is zoned is what is really allowed to go there, but at the same time, the ongoing litigation with the Kleins and the Salem Springs is when something comes and stuff has come, we can look at it, we always should look at anything that comes there and saying, well, what is it that the people can live with in their backyard? And what is it that people are, what is the input? And then it needs to come to the township and say, is this going to be a good thing or a bad thing? So it's important, I think, as a board and also a planning commission, that we have the experts, kind of similar to what we did with, our attorneys. You know that we hired Jerry Fisher to help us with land use issues that have come before the township. And he's been working diligently on this also. So it's good, again, it's, to me, not to say that Mr. Plato's not doing a good job. I'm just saying that it has been good to have, I believe, some of the best experts when it comes down to land use, which I believe is Jerry Fisher, and Mr. Carlisle is another name that's out there that is a good planner to use him in situations like this.
So it's just, right now, you're just wanting him just for this
For these
specific
different
acre and not
projects
for
that
the,
come to the USD right now.
Mr. Supervisor, just to follow up on your last couple of words in your last sentence there, for commercial development, are we talking about any project that is being considered in the USD or strictly commercial development? I guess I'm trying to distinguish between residential, commercial, office, ROP. Are we looking at anything within the USD that's currently vacant property that could come to the planning commission or potentially this board?
Well, I believe that we should use the resources that we have from both of our planners in that area, which is, I think we all know that when sewer and water does come to that area, that it is gonna take off. And we wanna make sure that we have the right people in place, at the planning commission and the consultants to provide them with the tools to make sure that the USD is developed in a way that is, a first-class development there off of M14 and Towers. So, I would say right now, it's this, I forget, 96 acres, whatever, is north of M14 between Towerson and Napier Road. That's what has been before us.
To that specific issue, Mr. Supervisor, I guess I'd like to get some clarification on this revised motion that's before us and the price differential for the fees for expert witness versus special planning consultant. Can you or Mr. Plato advise us as to what is the distinction? Is it an expert witness when he's in a courtroom, court of law, or is it expert witness in regard to issues related to the center section of the USD?
If I can respond to that, yeah. My understanding is that with regard to the expert witness, Mr. Carlisle has acted as an expert witness in a number of prior lawsuits. And my understanding is if he's doing work specifically for a pending lawsuit or getting ready for something that may involve testifying in court or preparing for a matter that may go to trial, that would involve work as an expert witness. If it's just planning consulting he's doing for the township, then it would lead to, obviously, the planner's rate of $120 an hour. If I may add to what the supervisor said before, in the ongoing discussions with the Showstack regarding the development, we've obviously had this ongoing litigation we're trying to resolve at no expense to the township or the residents. We've had engineering input from the township's engineers of Stantec, because some of the matters involved engineering issues that couldn't be addressed by the lawyers, such as, where's the water tower going to go? We have the public water and sewer, how much is going to be needed. Well, now we've also had issues come up with regard that need expert planning advice that the attorneys nor the engineers can deal with, such as, we've had issues over the access road into that property off M14, traffic, all those sorts of things that are really more planning issues or not engineering issues or not legal issues. So that's why we requested to get Mr. Carlisle involved. I worked with Dick Carlisle in the past on behalf of the city of Taylor for a major the Telegraph Road development. I frankly think he's the best there is in the state, particularly in Washtenaw County. He's out of Ann Arbor, and I can't think of anybody better to have in here. Township is retaining Mr. Fisher, and Mr. Carlisle would be getting the best of the best, in my opinion, and that's why I've recommended them to the Township Board.
Mr. Supervisor, there's no doubt Mr. Carlisle comes with a great wealth of credentials as part of the board package that's noted that he's an expert witness on a multitude of cases. I couldn't help but notice that there's one that involved Salem Township in the past. Do we have any knowledge of that case and when it occurred?
Well, I think you may know more about that than I do, Mr. Trent. That was before my involvement. I do know that involved a matter where Dick Carlisle was retained by Carol Rosati and represented the township, but that was before my time. I don't know the specifics of that lawsuit. I know it was resolved, but I can't tell you more than that. I know it, but again, I do know that he did represent Salem Township in that matter.
Okay, he represented Salem, not the applicant.
No. If you look on the left-hand column, he lists those entities listed there are his clients, and it says Salem Township in the matter of Salem Properties versus Salem Township. In fact, Mr. Carlisle has never represented a developer and only represents municipalities.
Okay, because there was a rumor going around that maybe he represented the Showstack gang at one time.
I've heard that rumor.
Where did that start? Where did that start?
Put that thing to bed.
Mr. Trent. Okay, Greg.
Yeah, just real quick, as Mr. Trent mentioned, consultant for the commercial development in the urban service district. Obviously, there's going to be different uses that will come up. Should we add / residential in there, or is commercial covering it basically throughout,
Or you can just take out the word commercial in the motion.
or as a consultant for the urban?
So it's not limited. Right.
That'd be up to you, Mr.
Yes.
Supervisor.
I mean, I'm fine the way this reads now, and if it comes again, we just want to, be upfront of what's coming before us, and address it then. But I think in this major thing, we will keep it.
It was my intention at this point that Mr. Carlisle would only be working on the matters involving the Showstack commercial development. If we want to get him involved in other matters, then I would bring that back to the board and request that.
And to that point, if I could just iterate this though, Mr. Supervisor, that several months ago, this board authorized action to go out for bid for up to 3 quotations for concept plans for not only the USD but also the Hamlin Service Center. That is a work that is still in progress. Donna Cripps, now that she's been back in town, is very close to having that RFP finalized, where we can go out and publicize for bids. And I look at that as being a completely separate issue relative to the motion that's before us today. Obviously, Mr. Carlisle's firm has the reputation that Mr. Plato remarked on previously, and if his firm desires to be involved in that process, I think they would submit a bid. But I still think we should still move forward with that action of several months ago, and look forward to some concept drawings to help us with the overall master plan review that the Planning Commission is going forward on currently.
And I just might add that any advice or any help we can give the planning commission as they're going through the master plan, I think is important. Not to say that we haven't had good information before, but I do think we need different eyes on it to give us a look at what could be coming down the road. Okay, any other questions on this? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay. We're down to the zoning board appointments. I move the Salem Township, the following appointments to the Salem Township Zoning Board of Appeals to complete a term beginning July 1st, 2015, ending December 31st, 2017. For Mr. Keith Paul.
Support.
Any questions about Keith? He has been serving right along. Okay, all those.
Is this an extension of the?
Correct. He's been on there, and I believe we needed to extend his term. Is that correct? Correct. Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now we're down to the sewer plant repairs that has been before us. I don't know if you've seen online, the board packet, letters from the DEQ of maintenance, not necessarily maintenance, but repairs that have been brought before the board. Then they had sent a second letter that was due by the 3rd of our response. We have, board members, before you, an estimated cost of these fixes of $57,000. This is from Midwest Power Systems. So in working on this, the DEQ is demanding that we get this situation under control, and we'll be inspecting back to see what we've done. We have written them a letter in response, and we've also have gone out for more quotes. This one quote here on Midwest Power Systems, they had put in there about $17,000 for road work that needs to be done from the sewer plant off of Salem Road going back to the sewer plant. What needs to be more gravel and spread out and stuff like that. But they had a price on here like, I believe it was what, $14,000 as far as what I can add the figures up on. But in doing some research, I talked to Tony Kalo, one of our neighbors, industrial area over there, who has wanted to donate the gravel to the township. So they had revised their quote to us down from 57 to 43,500. That just came in today. Then I had asked, Highland Treatment Plant is the one who services that facility there, and asked them to look for other people to quote, and we received a also quote that they had highly recommended that came in at $35,300. That is by process piping and equipment.
Where are they located, Mr. Supervisor?
They are in Milford.
So this does not have the stone in the road.
Right, correct. So with 35,000 there, and then the other, as you've seen in your board packet, there is a letter from our engineers that some engineering has to be done. The letter states that the fee would be, to do the engineering for this would be not, it'd be less than $10,000. And again, as you can see, that was not included in the original, it was 57,000 plus the engineering, which would have been close to over $60,000. So what I would recommend to the board to get moving on this is that, on the recommendations from the Highland Treatment Plant, this process piping, and our engineers, it looks roughly would be, it should be under $50,000 with engineering and from this process piping and equipment. Any other questions on this? In the letter, I believe, the timeline, we did respond, and what I haven't found out yet is when, what's the timeline, unless Dale, you've heard, or anybody else has heard, when we have to get this started. But these were the only two quotes that they provided us.
We have an actual written quote.
Right. Yeah, I have them right here, if you can check, we can pass these out. This, other than these, some of the maintenance that's at the sewer plant, some of the issues on the heavy rains, Jim had mentioned about the people might be, still have, we went through this before, about having storm water drained into the sewer system, which is overloading the system. We still seem to have, issues on these heavy rains, and of course, we've had a ton of rain. And actually, the system hasn't run that bad, but I just got a call yesterday with the same problems we had over here on the road now. Mansalona, all their wood's all messed up again. It's a disaster over there. But I mean, there's issues going back, what's happened over there too, so we have to work that out. But anyway, when you get fined by the, getting letters from the DEQ, and we just need to address this and get on it right away to get it solved the way they want fixed over there.
Do you think you want to just, for your motion, just put maybe 50,000?
Right, I would say not to exceed 50, and then we'll report back to you what it's come in at.
And will we continue to try to strive to get the third quote? Or,
Yeah, I mean, if they would give somebody else, if they got somebody else. As of right now, they just had these two quotes.
would it be sufficient to say that the motion has been passed
have 50,000, not to exceed 50,000. Of the two bids, one's 35, and with the 10,000 for Stantec,
Which would be under that.
and we can say if we get the third one, and if
Right.
we just see what that one falls in at.
But at least we're covered with $50,000 should cover.
Okay? So, I move that Salem Township approve the funding of the Hamlet Sewer plant repairs as identified in the attached quotes not to exceed $50,000. You have a second on it?
I'll second that.
Any other questions on this?
I have a question. The sewer fund is $5,000 and you're voting on something closer to $50,000. Is it general tax funds from the township repairing the Hamlet's sewer system?
Correct.
Correct.
Is there a guarantee we'll see that money back in the
No.
township fund?
The sewer,
Nobody bought my sewer system, I put it in the
sewer system was put in, and the township is the bonding. The person whether is responsible for the bonding is the township. And therefore, the township is responsible for that. And the fund, the sewer funds and all the other stuff, the principal and interest and all that stuff comes back in to pay the bonds back. It is not back, it has not been put in there for any kind of O&M for the long term. We did try to apply for a SAW grant from the state last year. We were denied, well, we weren't denied. There was only a certain amount of money that was allocated and it was on a lottery system. And we were not on the top, so therefore we did not get any funding to do any asset studies where we can go back in there and get money to help maintain, because the system that is almost 20 years old now has got issues and the things are going to be failing. And we are not necessarily setting aside money to cover those things. And that's just exactly what has happened here.
And what you have to remember, Jim, also, and again, I wasn't, you were here probably when this happened, but as far as the sewer system is, I think when they put this together, that they thought that there would be some growth as selling sewer taps into the Hamlet area. But as we all know, that's not happening. And therefore, if they were selling the taps and they were selling the hookups or whatever it costs, we would be, we would have a sewer fund that would be making some money, but we don't. So now, after, 20 years, we were having issues with this. And then you're thinking, well, you're almost happy you don't have that many taps because it might be really a problem down there. So, it's a problem, again, I think it was forced, we had to have a sewer system in Hamlet because of the failed septic systems. And we have it here what we're to deal with. The sewer bills aren't cheap here, I don't know if you know, but they're just what is it, $60 a month, $59 a month?
There's three different rates, $49.50, and that does not concern the service charge. It's $59.50, and those that are paying the principal and interest is $96.37 a month.
And that's every month,
And that's every month.
just for sewer, that's 100%. So, but the sewer fund it's always in the red, right? It's been in the red for years.
It's always been under there for a long time.
Are we gonna pursue the people that are in violation?
The issue is, Gary mentioned it earlier with regards to the flooding that we have in here. Infiltrations is a problem with the sewer system. It was a problem in '01, it was a problem again in '07, '08, and it is now becoming a problem again. And a lot of that has to be the leakage going into manhole covers, is people putting illegal downspouts into it and putting sump pumps and going back in there. And all of those things need to be a big study, and to get through the whole issue of this infiltration, it's gonna cost a big bill just to try to get that. But that again too is something that's lurking on the horizon because we have a limit of 50,000 GPA gallons per day is all that we can go through that plant. We started exceeding that, we're gonna start getting the DEQ down our backs again on that. And so we are looking very carefully at how we monitor the flow and what's going on and what we're gonna be doing here, because that's another potential issue that we may be faced with.
How much goes through there nowadays?
We'll push that on a heavy rainy day.
And, you know, and that's one of the things too, that we really need to consider a different way of hooking up the system. I mean, I know it's down the road, but we need to be talking about it, we have been talking about it. How can, you know, if sewer and water does come to the USD, it really is something where we need to really consider how do we get this hamlet hooked up to that system, I feel. I mean, there's a lot to talk about, but that's been thrown out there. Even the landfill is hooked into Northville. And, you know, we keep saying, well, you know, maybe that's an option, and we have talked to them about that.
I just hope the board would play hardball with anybody that's in violation. It's creating a problem for the whole township.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily convinced that it's the residents that are using it. Because they found a few, I think, last time. I'm not sure how they dealt with that years ago. But, you know, I think there's other failures there that's happening, just the infrastructure part of it, manhole covers and stuff like that. I mean, you can see, you know, here this last rainfall we had, I mean, basements were flooded, it was terrible down here. So, okay, where are we at? So we have a second on this?
Yes.
All right, any other comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we're moving right on down to, we've got the expenditure report in the packet. Treasurer report, you have anything, Dale?
No, just that, this represents the later investment.
All right, and we're down to, the fire department.
Thank you, Mr. Supervisor. Just a couple things tonight. In your board packet, you'll see the run calls. You'll notice, again, we're up in volume, but you'll notice, hopefully, that the time for response is pretty good. It's not pretty good, it's really good, at 6 minutes. So I think that speaks outstanding for the number of calls. This last month, unfortunately, we had a motorcycle fatality with one of our residents. I would just say, watch the distracted driving. Motorcycle and bicyclists frequent our roads out here, and unfortunately, one of the drivers suffered a fatal motorcycle accident. So it is a season where we see a lot more of those. So just kind of pay attention. I see a lot of people use our roads for jogging, for bicycle riding, and particularly when it gets kind of like right now where the sun's starting to go down, try to wear some light clothing or reflective clothing so that people can see you. And stay away from the earth tones if you're not wearing some reflective clothing. I would also mention that Superior Township Fire Department has hired a new fire chief. That will be Vic Chavette. It'll start shortly. Vic has a number of tentacles within Washtenaw County as a firefighter. He's the County Hazardous Material Chief leader. He comes from Augustus Fire Department as their chief and had a number of years in Ypsilanti Township. So he comes with a wealth of knowledge, and I'm sure he's got some great ideas. So I think we'll have a number of conversations with Superior. I'm sure there'll be some changes coming out of that. The other thing is our F-350 has arrived. The F-350 is now getting the lights and the decals loaded. And I hope to see it by the end of this week. That's what we're expecting. So that'll be a great addition and help out. Lastly, that I would like to inform the board is that we had a grievance against the township that went to arbitration. The parties, us, the firefighters, and the union were able to come to an agreement without going into arbitration. I would say it's a fair compromise on both sides. And I'm happy to say that we didn't have to go to arbitration. And as I think the attorney advised us, you have arbitration, you have a clear winner, you have a clear loser. And when you have something outside arbitration, you have a compromise where I think both parties both got what they wanted on it, so.
Can we talk about that or not?
That is fully,
Yeah, I mean, I think we should tell the public how it is basically, if you remember, the grievance was on the lieutenant hirings, them not meeting the qualifications of, how many years, that they had been here. Joe Lukinas is the lieutenant that, the board, hired, and, he had been here for how long?
So he was past his probationary period, well past the probationary period, and it was a couple months past that. I would say that the agreement that was reached was some of the firefighters felt that that there should be some seniority in some of the officer promotions. And so the compromise was that for lieutenants and above, they'll have 1.5 years on the department, and for the assistant chief, they would have a minimum of 3 years on the department before they would be eligible to be promoted to those ranks. And so that was a compromise on both parties. I think firefighters felt that, hey, we're making sure that the promotions, firefighters have some experience within the department. And I believe from our aspect, we felt that we have some really good firefighters coming in with major experience. That was a means of meeting in the middle of the road to say that we're both getting where we want to get, which is the best department we can get for the township.
And Joe stays on.
And Joe stays on as promoted as a lieutenant.
Assistant fire chief was 3 or 3.5?
3.
Okay.
And then I just lastly would say that I think we're making headway on the union contract, our renewal of it, and I think we're starting to come down towards towards the end of it. I'm hoping maybe the next board or 2 boards from now, we might have a package for the board to review.
Very good.
Thank you for your time.
Chief? Okay. Down to board discussion, general township updates. I'm not sure that we have many. Unless anybody wants to ask for some updates.
Mr. Supervisor, has the road commission apprised you of the time frame for the Tower Road project?
Yeah, I think they started it this week. Didn't you get a?
I got an alert that there was going to be a 1-day closure or
Right.
road disruptions for
That was starting
ditches or something.
this week.
Yeah, I think it's today. I can look it up and actually provide that for you.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it sounds like it's imminent.
Curtis Road is supposed to have the second chip seal put on it, which hasn't done yet, but they haven't given me a time on that. So.
That's my next question. You must have been reading my mind. Stop doing that.
All right. Sorry.
Okay. Thank you.
And as far as township-wide limestone, that list should be over to the township this week also. They have started some of that, but they'll give us a report on that.
Did they ever come back and agree with matching funds for the ditching and drainage? I know they say they're going to do it or not?
Yeah, we've already approved that one. They're out here at, on 6 Mile, here, I can't remember what the street is, but they're gonna change that culvert. A lot of some of the new houses that were put in on 6 Mile, you just get out of your car and walk down there, it's so poorly planned. It's just so frustrating to see how the hamlet can have 2 new houses built, and you got the older houses there. The culverts are, a foot higher than how that gets approved and done, I'll never know. So therefore, it comes through I think a 16-inch culvert underneath 6 Mile, which is failing. And it goes down, and then it reverts down to a 12, down to about a foot below the neighbor's. It totally flooded their garage, basement, and everything. And has to fill up, and then once it fills up, and then it keeps going west down 6 Mile. And it's just gotta be changed, But it should have been done when these new houses were built. So, anyway, they're gonna come and at the county's expense, get that fixed. So all the neighbors are really happy about that, because it's been an ongoing problem for about 8 years now.
Mr. Supervisor,
Yeah.
the media advisory said it was happened yesterday,
Yesterday.
July 13th, between 7 and 8 Mile an hour. So that should have occurred according to the advisory.
Mr. King?
Yeah, now we're talking about culverts, when do they expect to come back and put the finish coat on that one on Pontiac Trail every 6 months?
Yeah, you're right. They haven't told me that one, but it really needs to be done on that road.
Glenn asked
I
me
gotta
that
keep
today.
Glenn happy, right?
Yeah, he asked me just to see on that one.
Thanks, Ivan. Okay, anything else?
Yes, in regards to Curtis Road, when they did the initial cut, before they did their chip, they kind of rolled the vegetation off into
Right.
the ditch line.
Yeah,
There's
burning
two,
it.
yeah, there's two culverts, one north of my approach and one south to my approach. The one to the south has to be completely blacked out, because after that last rain that we have gotten, the water traveled to the top surface of Curtis Road, and then it made its way north, and then it just came right over Curtis Road.
Right. We had some other complaints about that with citizens.
I mean, is there somebody that?
Well,
I need to call or-
I remember them when they were doing that, they were taking the back loaders, kind of taking the berms off Curtis Road, and whatever would go in the bucket, they put into a truck. But then some that didn't go in the truck were just being pushed off into the
Exactly.
ditch and just left there.
Yeah. You can see the burn spot in the vegetation or the planting.
Right.
I think we planted corn this year, that's the Ponios property to the
Right.
west of
Right.
Curtis Road there. And it was a
Yeah,
small
it-
pond that got it there.
So what they're telling me is after the second chip seal that they do, that they are coming back and doing the ditching along, because along Curtis,
Mhm.
that's part of the taxes that we all had to pay
Very
to
good.
get that road
Yeah,
done.
because that south culvert will actually take the water directly into Fox Hills. There's a drainage easement there that just takes, summer runoff or, farmland runoff. But because that water came to the north and went over my approach, it gathered in all of my north ditch and came right down to my drive and flooded halfway up my drive.
Mm.
So if
All the way
they're
to
gonna- Oh, yeah, all the way down there, So it's, if they're gonna come back on that, I should solve the problem.
But you are a trustee and you have no right to complain.
No.
Just teasing.
Exactly, yeah.
All right. All right, anything else? Public, you want anything, any updates on anything that, it's not even 8 o'clock.
Yeah, All-Star game starts in 10 minutes.
All right, well, public comment. All right, well, enjoy your summer, and we'll see you next month. Thank you very much. We're adjourned.
How you doing?